All right. What's up, YouTube fans? Coming to you guys today with a brand new video. And in today's video, there's no news today since it is Christmas Eve, and Merry Christmas Eve to all you guys out there. I just wanted to make this video because I feel like there are no stories out there explaining all of the stories that are going on in the DC universe. People all hear these articles here and there every single day about, oh, this movie got canceled and this guy's on the outs with that guy. So I decided to make this video so that way you guys can get a better understanding of what's going on in a general sense and a good explanation of it. This isn't going to be some super duper news casting report or anything like that. I just wanted to get you guys the news. So it all starts going way back almost 10 years ago to when Dwayne Johnson was rumored to be Black Adam. This was around the time that Batman v Superman was a thing, I believe around 2013, 2014-ish, and the whole world was generally pissed off that Ben Affleck was going to be the new Batman, and Henry Cavill did a terrible job in Man of Steel, and it was just horrible, so people were mad about that as well. Around this time, the very first thing that happened is that the trailer for Batman v Superman came out, and the whole world, if you remember, was pissed off because they basically revealed the entire ending in Batman v Superman in the trailer. It was supposed to be, spoiler alert, a Batman versus Superman flick where they fight, but in the trailer they clearly show that, oh, they're not actually gonna fight, they're gonna go team together to fight Doomsday, I believe it was. The movie ended up bombing. It did do numbers, but it ended up pretty much bombing because it didn't make as much as they thought or hoped it was going to. And then moving forward, they were going to make Wonder Woman, and Aquaman, I believe, was the next two projects that was supposed to happen. Wonder Woman came out. It was an amazing movie. Generally, everybody loved it, and they were all saying that, oh, that's great. DC Universe can actually make Marvel caliber movies, and that would be a great thing. And then Aquaman also came out around that same time, but the actor, I completely forget her name, of course, while I'm recording this. The actor that just got into the Johnny Depp trial, she pissed everybody off, and then that led to people not really watching the movie. It was still a good movie, but it didn't do quite as good as they hoped it would. I believe it still did make $1 billion worldwide, but it didn't do the numbers that they hoped it would. And then we're going to fast forward to around, I believe, 2019, 2020. Black Adam finally, after years of delay, gets confirmed as going to be The Rock. Everybody is hyped because they're like, okay, The Rock is going to be on board with this. Justice League just had came out around that time, and that was before the Snyder Cut, and everybody critically panned that film, so much so to the point that Henry Cavill ended up leaving altogether. And this is where we get to our first point of significant news, because The Rock, one of the primary things that he did was get Henry Cavill back on board for the to come back when not Dan Snyder, to come back when James Gunn eventually would take over the franchise. Around this time, it was a big controversy over at Marvel Studios. James Gunn had said a lot of things on Twitter that Marvel did and Disney primarily did not agree with. They ended up cutting ties with James Gunn, and then Warner Brothers swooped right in, picked up his contract because they felt like they could not miss an opportunity to get the Guardians of the Galaxy director, and Guardians of the Galaxy is possibly one of the most beloved Marvel movies of this past generation. So fast forward, they swoop in, they pick up James Gunn. The Rock, he's still in his trying to get ownership phase, which is another reason that he brought on Henry Cavill, and it all seems good. James Gunn's going to be the new director. The Rock and Henry Cavill are on board. Black Adam is literally about to come out, and everything seems great. But Trouble in Paradise ends up happening. Warner Brothers is pissed because The Rock, it comes to find out that he only did all of this because he was trying to get an ownership stake in the company and have a little partial ownership of the DC brand. Obviously, Warner Bros., since DC is their most popular, most marketable brand other than Looney Tunes, and the most well-known, they're like, no, you're not going to get a portion of this just like you own everything else. You can go take that shit to the Fast and Furious franchise and get the hell on. Basically, it gets so bad to a boiling point where they cannot come to a contract agreement, and they feel that it's better to just cut ties with The Rock altogether. And since the movie just came out, and it critically got panned and bombed at the theater. It was not a bad movie, but it got bombed because people are pissed that he would try and do this as well, that they cut ties. If a Black Adam 2 happens, it's not going to be in the canon of the franchise anymore. Shazam! Fury of the Gods, that's about to come out next year, literally in a couple of months, that's not going to have a cameo from The Rock, which is crazy because Black Adam is literally Shazam's biggest nemesis. And for the icing on top, cherry on the cake, James Gunn reveals that he does not even want Henry Cavill in his movies because he feels, oh, well, we're not going to come to a contract that works for me, and I want to just completely start over from scratch and not have Henry Cavill. This ends up pissing off the fans because they thought for years that Henry Cavill was going to come back. They thought that Shazam was going to have his dark Black Adam nemesis. And literally all of this is happening so much of a clusterfuck that it's happening that Batgirl ends up getting canceled. Wonder Woman 3 ends up getting canceled because they can't come to a contract agreement with Gal Gadot. Then they finally do come to a contract agreement with Gal Gadot, but they don't even know if she's going to be in Wonder Woman. And then recently, as of the time of me making this, I believe it was 2 days ago, it was just confirmed that Wonder Woman's cameo and there was another cameo, I believe it was probably from Henry Cavill. They were not going to be in the new Flash film. And then getting to the Flash, because all the while this is happening, Ezra Miller is actually going out into the world doing crazy things. He's kind of like Andy Dick back in the day, back when Andy Dick would literally just do crazy stuff just to get attention. But the reason that Ezra Miller is doing all of the stuff that he's doing is because he was the only one that got locked up in a contract. So since Ezra Miller is locked up in a contract long term since the ending of Justice League, he's doing all of this crazy stuff in the media, hoping that Warner Brothers would take the Disney route and terminate his contract just like Disney terminated the contract of Johnny Depp. This ends up not happening, and Ezra Miller, through all of the crazy things that he did in the media, I'm not going to bring anything up. If you want to go see what he did, then go look it up. It's just stupid stuff. They end up keeping his contract. The movie is still set to release pretty soon, I believe in like 2 or 3 months from now. But pretty much all of the cameos in the movie get cut. Every other movie around it gets cut, and pretty much that universe of DCU is entirely effectively over at this point. Now James Gunn is moving on to doing a soft reboot. They're completely rebooting it to the point where Flashpoint is probably going to be where they do the reboot point, because most DC films, they usually use the Flashpoint paradox to introduce multi-universes, and those multi-universes branch off into different universes, and that's how people like Gal Gadot and Ben Affleck can come back, but other guys like Henry Cavill and Black Adam clearly aren't going to be in there. Also, Shazam clearly isn't going to be in there, even though he was supposed to be in the original canon. So basically, we're to a point where all of the movies that we did want to come out are not coming out anymore. The Rock and Warner Brothers are officially done with each other because he couldn't get his ownership stake like he wanted to. Henry Cavill, unfortunately, even though he has no issues with James Gunn felt that the headache wouldn't even matter, and fans are only rallying behind him, even though they thought back in Man of Steel he was terrible, because he recently was in The Witcher, and that was a great film, and he was in the Snyder Cut, and he did good in the Snyder Cut. All of the old movies are done. The new movies are coming out. Shazam, you need to know, is going to be a part of the old canon and the new canon, and it's going to be explained in the Flashpoint Paradox. Flashpoint Paradox might possibly be Ezra Miller's last movie role. Ben Affleck came out and said that his cameo in the movie was going to be his final cut, because we all know that Ben Affleck is gone. Ben Affleck is also having a contract agreement with Warner Brothers being talked out right now, so that way he can make a new Batman flick, and pretty much it's still a giant clusterfuck. If at any point in this video I was getting too rambly or off topic, then I'm sorry about that, guys. But essentially, all you need to know everything is that everybody from the old films are going to be no longer in the films, with the slight possibility of Wonder Woman and Ben Affleck making one final cameo. Shazam is the only person as of right now from the previous universe, and Aquaman. I almost forgot about Aquaman. Shazam and Aquaman are the only people from the previous universe that have no issues and are most likely going to be in the new films. Ezra Miller is about to most likely be out the door because James Gunn will not put up with his shenanigans trying to get out of his contract. And we have new films coming up that James Gunn is going to be the head man in charge of. That's the video today, guys. If you need me to explain anything else, then just let me know in the comment section below. Make sure to like and subscribe so you guys can always stay up to date on the latest, greatest gaming news. And if there's any other things that you wanted me to bring up in this, then please just let me know, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.